Welcome back, everybody. Raphael, first one in the chat, as usual. Kevin, good evening from Lakeland, Florida. Appreciate y'all being here. We missed last week, so it feels like it's been forever since I've seen you guys or talked to you, so I'm excited to see everybody tonight. What's up, Pete? Thanks for being here, man. We've got plenty of books to look at tonight. I have one picked out already. We're going to be taking a look. I'll go ahead and show you what we're looking at tonight, at least to start off. We're going to be starting off with some Lee Friedlander. This is Real Estate. What's up, Tom? Thanks for being here. Let me know if any of you are familiar with this book or just Lee Friedlander in general. Jonathan, hey, first time YouTube recommended the stream. Well, we love to hear that. We love to hear that YouTube is doing its thing and letting people know I'm here. I still get messages from people saying like, "Hey, do you still make videos? I'm subscribed, but nothing's been on my subscription box or anything." Still here. What's up, Evan? Thanks for being here. Tonight, yeah, let's go ahead and let's just dig in. We've got some people here. People will be jumping in as usual. We're going to start off with Lee Friedlander, Real Estate. This is a big, big book. Intro here says, the building stood there gray and bare, stood there like houses in their shirt sleeves. From Growth of the Soil by Knut Hamsun. Some of these photos, Lee Friedlander's compositions are always fascinating to me, just based on how much is often going on, and even like things being a little bit askew. There's a lot going on in some of these. Gregory, Chain Linked is a great book. I don't have that one. I'll have to look out for that one. How about we take a look at Sons of the Living by Brian Scoopmont? I don't have that book. I've got a few of his, but I don't have Sons of the Living. I have County Road, Good Goddamn, and let me see what else I have. That's all I have, actually. I have, yeah, I have Good Goddamn and County Road. Jim, thanks for being here. What's up? So Real Estate, this book focuses mostly on houses, buildings, I should say, not just houses, but I love how packed. There's always so much going on in Friedlander's photos, especially this square composition stuff. It's a lot of fun. These trees just kind of like breaking up everything right in the middle of the frame. I like that, kind of mirroring the shadow here on this one. Even this one, 2008. This interior of a car, super wide, square composition. Jim says, not sure if you mentioned, but Friedlander was good friends with Winogrand. I didn't mention that, but that's true. It's always fascinating to me when when you hear about certain photographers of the past, a lot of legendary photographers, and them being good friends with other really well-known and established photographers. It's interesting to think about what that relationship would look like if those people aren't in the same area. Nowadays, we take it for granted. I'm friends with so many different photographers that I either only see every once in a while or friends that I've literally only known through online. And I always find that interesting, thinking about decades ago, decades before I was even alive, the photographers that would know each other, and I think it speaks a lot to I guess, the layer of barrier there for access. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. Like, to know somebody and to get 5 minutes of their time back then versus now. I don't know. It's just a totally different way of going about it. I like that they put the years in a lot of these. For instance, this is 2012. This is 1997. We've seen stuff from 70s already, 60s. That shows the the dedication. This is 2022 that he made this photo. I feel like I've been doing it a long time, and sometimes I feel like what else can I do? Am I completely dried up? You know what I mean? In terms of photography, and I've only been doing it for 20 years. Love this one right here. This is a perfect example of a lot of the like subframing kind of stuff you see in Lee Friedlander's work. This house just being framed up in this window right here. You've got people in this window, another mirror with something in the reflection there, everything off in the distance. Yeah, just so fun. So much going on. Even something like this, though, like this is, it's a beautiful photo compared to some of the other things. It's a little less, I guess, chaotic, but it still feels so much like him with the one person in the frame in this little box right here in the middle. Even this one, like the shadow on this fence right here, kind of like running in line with this person mid-stride. I find like that's what I find the most pleasing, maybe is the word, about Lee Friedlander. I love where everything feels very intentionally placed, even when it's chaotic, you know? And I don't know why, but I've always loved having things like, there's a lot of this kind of stuff where there's just this solid tree or a telephone pole. You see it a lot in his work. Things that completely separate the frame and divide it between two, you know? Um, I've always liked that. I don't know why. Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin in 1986. Evan says Lee is a maniacal genius with layering and framing. Yeah, well said. That's a perfect way to put it. It's yeah, it's fascinating. I feel like I so often I'm quick to look at like what I don't want to include in the frame when I go to make a photo, and a lot of his stuff really shows you can loosen up with that, and sometimes the things that are sticking out of the corner that you can barely see, sometimes that makes you, it's like it draws you in. It makes you ask questions. You want to see just a little bit more past the frame. You know, it doesn't look so what's the word, manufactured. Like everything feels intentional, but it still feels real. It doesn't feel like it's manufactured or being produced, if that makes sense. A lot of the wide square format stuff, I find I feel like I would have a harder time. A lot of times I try to shoot very symmetrical things when I'm thinking in 6x6, or just a square composition in general. often trying to get things nice and neat lines, and often with a wide lens, you're going to get a little more distortion, and things don't necessarily line up as geometrically, I should say. And it's the way he does it is it's great. Just shooting through these these bleachers right here, just with these lines as they are coming out, towards the lens. Again, it's like I would never think to shoot through here with all of those in the foreground with such a wide lens, but it works so well. Another one here, a lot of the people kind of framed in these little individual frames. Again, with the vertical lines completely just dissecting the frame. Alex says, howdy, finally was able to get on one of the lives. Well, welcome. Thanks for being here. We are taking a look at Lee Friedlander real estate at the moment. This one here, the light on the subject, I don't know, it feels like a flash was used, but at the same time it feels like just the natural sunlight, but I've always loved this just because this person stands out so much. John, hey, thanks for being here. Let me know if you all can hear me well, if it's if the mic needs adjusted at all. I'm using basically a different connection method for my mic tonight. Still wireless, but not running it through the same hardware. And so just want to make sure everything is relatively consistent with what we've been doing. Hey, Javier, thanks for being here. Says hello again, missed you the last few streams. Well, we missed last week. Last week was a bit of chaos in every every sense of the word. And Wednesday night I was tied up with the family, had family duties to take care of. So it feels like it's been a minute since I've seen everybody. So I'm glad you're all here tonight. Everybody says it sounds good. Okay, beautiful. Thank you for letting me know. I'm continuing to simplify the gear needed and the setup needed for these live streams so that hopefully we can branch out a little more in the future. And even if I'm not specifically in this spot, I'll be able to go live from time to time in different ways or in different locations. So we're always tinkering with it. I love this one right here. Something about the light and him being backlit against everything. Yeah, it's so good. It's interesting. These were 10 years apart. This was 1965 California and Boston, Massachusetts in 1975, but such a similar look between the painted mural here and the billboard. Javier was busy traveling for a week. Took a lot of pictures, which felt good, but not too many, I think. Oh, that's awesome. Man, I've had a little bit of a rut with all the rain we were having. I finally got to get out and make some pictures last week and made a big difference mentally. Glad you got to get out there. Hope you had a good trip. Are you familiar with a photographer named Mori Kami? No, I'm not. Vince, I'll have to look her up. Mori Kami. Or he, I guess. I'm not sure if that's a man or a woman. Hi, Matt. I still have my Nikon F, which I pulled out from storage again. Have you ever tried Kentmere 400 and 35 millimeter? It's like HP5, but cheaper than HP5. Let me know your thoughts. Joseph, I have tried Kentmere 400, but it's been many, many years. But I have heard good things, and with HP5 being the price that it is, I was actually recently looking into possibly bulk loading again because the price has gone up so much, and it's just everything these days is expensive. But I haven't tried it in recent years. I might have to give that a go. I've heard the film itself is like a little bit thinner, and so sometimes it can be scratched easier, but that's only what I've heard. I can't speak from experience, so you'd have to let me know. Vince, I stumbled upon their photo book from the late 80s, The Prison Experience. It's too good. Well, good looking out. I'll check that out, The Prison Experience. I'll have to look into that. It's funny, I was just filming a video earlier today with Tyler. He came over and we were filming a video kind of talking about discovering photo books and just the importance of photo books. I know, as if I haven't talked about it enough, but oh, I love this. First, the grille of this car, like almost mirroring the windows in the distance. Oh, that's so good. Love that one. And the Chevy and Ford truck side by side. That's a classic. But we were talking in that video about, discovering photographers through photo books, and I feel like that's something we haven't really discussed too much, but the same way you would find, like an old record in a record store or an old book. It could be like an old novel. Just finding something that the cover grabs your attention, and you pick it up and you flip through it, or you pick up the record and look at it, take it home, and you're like, oh yeah, that's how you find things, through stumbling across them in the real world and finding new photographers. And I referenced Dog Run, which is a book by Michael Krauser. We've talked about that one, or I should say we've looked at it together on stream. That one was a book I found at a half-price bookstore for like $4 or $5, something like that, and it's still one of my favorites. I'd never heard of his work before, but I saw the title and it caught my attention, and I feel like that's something that just doesn't really happen when you're only consuming photography digitally. I feel like you're less likely to stumble across things like that. Yeah, all of these, it just makes me want to get out and shoot and just walk and look. That's what I've always loved about Lee Friedlander's work in general, is just how clear it is, the idea of just walking and looking and paying attention. Paying attention to the smallest details, but making sense of it with a frame around it. It's so, I don't want to say simple, because that makes it seem like it's not great. It's great work, but it's so accessible. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. I love how accessible his work feels, where just by looking at it, you're like, oh yeah, I get it. I see what he's seeing there, Joseph says, I mainly shoot it with it being pushed to 1600. Had to go back to photography for my little sister's graduation soon. What film stock should I choose, because they mainly want color? Let's see. I mean, these days, if you're shooting color film, I have always been a fan of the more affordable films from Kodak, like Kodak Ultramax 400 or Kodak Gold 200, whether it be in 35. Well, I guess it depends. If you're shooting 35 millimeter, you've got the options. If you're shooting 120, I don't believe they make No, they still don't make Ultramax in 120. But those are good options. Portra 400 or Portra 800. Yeah, Isaac says, if indoors, Portra 800 or Cinestill 800T. Yeah, Portra 800 is a good option as well. It's another one that crazy how expensive it's gotten. Portra 400 is, I mean, it's like become a meme at this point because of how often it's recommended, or how common it is that that's the film someone grabs if they're shooting color. But I say that, at the same time, I say it's such a versatile and reliable film. It's a pretty forgiving film in the world of color film, I would say. So depending on how much light you're working with, like Isaac mentioned, the Cinestill 800T, that one can be a lot of fun, especially if you're shooting in mixed lighting scenarios. But I would look into those from Kodak. I'm sure there are other Fuji options that someone would recommend, but I personally don't have any. I haven't really shot Fuji roll color film in probably a decade at this point. It's just they've continued to discontinue more and more and more, so I just haven't really been interested. But this is one of my favorites right here. This was from 2002. This to me is like, that's the kind of stuff that I see, or that I want to see, I should say, when I'm out walking around. Something like this, I would spend as long as I could right there. Just every possible composition I could come up with, I would just let it rip. Mel, what's up? Good to see you. Second Bob, good to see you. Isaac says, anything color print from Fuji is just repackaged Ultramax or gold unless you import it from Japan. I've heard that before. I've heard that the more budget-friendly films are commonly rebranded, repackaged. I think Lomography, there was one of the Lomo, I think Lomo 800 maybe it was, someone told me was rebranded Kodak or repackaged Kodak. I used to love that film in 120. Let's see. Oh, hey, Greg, if I remember right. Good to see you. I didn't notice how you mentioned it about 120. You inspired me to have my backlog of 120 color. I finally caught up. They were mostly portrait films in 120. Now there are no more falling behind on stuff. Well, hey, that's good to hear. I'm still trying to catch up on developing my own stuff. I was going to last week, realized I was out of distilled water, and went and picked some up. Hopefully I'll be doing that maybe at the end of this week. The last 2 weeks have been absolutely crazy. I've barely been sleeping. So as soon as I can, I'm going to get that film developed and caught up. As a matter of fact, I got a new macro lens to scan with my Z8. I was previously using the Lumix system, so I've got an L-mount macro lens that does me no good at this point. So I bought an old AFD Nikon lens that's an F-mount, and I'm adapting it. So we'll see how that goes. I haven't tried it just yet. It just arrived 2 days ago. So we'll see. Let's see. Lomo 800 is apparently the same stuff that's in the Kodak disposable cameras. Ah, there it is. Good looking out, Mel. You should do a development live stream. Pete, that's actually one thing. I saw your comment on that. That's one thing I was wanting to do. Right now, the temperatures out here in the barn, I've got the heater going tonight because it was pretty chilly. It was in the low 50s earlier today, and now it's dropping down again. Right now, I still don't have running water out here in the barn, and so if I did do a developing live stream, I'll need to do it inside. The only issue is that normally when I'm doing the live streams, it's after the kids are in bed, and so I'd have to be kind of quiet, especially with our daughter. If she even hears anything resembling the sound of dad being inside the house, she's going to come looking for me. So I might need to do a scanning live stream out here first, develop the film inside, and then scan it on stream out here. I might be able to do that soon. But hopefully, I don't know when, but hopefully this spring or maybe summer, I'll be able to get the running water out here in the barn set up. One of my good friends, Corey Miller, who I sold him my enlarger years ago when I had to, basically disassemble my old dark room that I used to have at the house. Now I've since bought that enlarger back from him, and Corey is an ultimate enabler, so he was like, hey, there's this, he knows I want to eventually get to printing out here in the barn when I have it all set up, and he sent me a Facebook Marketplace link of an 8-foot darkroom sink that was up in Columbus. He was like, hey man, I know you're thinking about getting it set up. This could be a good option. And I replied the day later when I saw it, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I can justify it right now. He was like, well, I went ahead and bought it anyway. I'll sell you my old 6-foot darkroom sink for $100, and it comes with the stand I built for it. So I was like, well, I guess I don't really have the plan in place yet. I don't even have running water yet, but I suppose if you're selling me a darkroom sink, a 6-foot sink with a stand for $100, I can't really pass that up. So he's holding that for me. So eventually at some point, I now have a dedicated sink ready to go. I've got my enlarger ready to go. I'm probably just going to throw up some short walls, not short in height, but short in length, and just make a little darkroom closet type setup for the enlarger and trays, just enough to get me going in here. So I'll probably be building that sometime this year, because I'm gonna need it. This right here is one of my favorites. I've always got to stop and admire this one. I just love, again, we've talked about it, dividing the frames up. This continuation of this railing right here, right into this pole, just such a good photo. Javier, do you rinse with distilled? I think I got hard water spots last time, and I'm wondering if that helps. Yes, that's actually exactly why. So when I do that's why I always make sure I keep distilled water, not just to mix up the developer, but the very last stage of the rinse. So what I'll do is let it run under the tap in my sink, let that run for 8 to 10 minutes usually, just nothing crazy, but just like a nice steady flow. Occasionally every couple of minutes while I'm usually standing by, I'll take it and dump all the water out and, just kind of fully rinse it all out as I'm going. And then the very last step, when I'm done rinsing with that, I'll pour it all out, fill my tank up with distilled water, and then add a little bit of Kodak Photo Flow, just a tiny amount. That itself would clear up the water spots. So the last bit of drying that it does, it's drying from the distilled water and the Photo Flow. So that should help take care of the water spots, Javier. Mel, you could always get the Patterson Dark Tint. That's actually something I've thought of as well. Knowing me, I'll probably change my mind a few times before I make the final decision, but that is one thing I've considered, is just having that dark tint and just set up when I need to set up. But I don't know. I know myself, and I also think, well, if I've got this sink and I've got this enlarger, it's a pretty big sink as well. I don't know that tint would fit in it. So yeah, it's one of those things I've considered though. Tim, what's up, dude? Oh, here, Joseph, I missed this one. It says, thank you for suggesting about Portra 800. Thank Isaac for that one. I'll give Isaac the credit. Isaac was the first one to mention Portra 800. I'll keep an eye on it when they're back in stock. FPP store doesn't have them in stock. That's a bummer. FPP is a great place to buy film. Always good prices and usually like the most options. Tim, what's up, dude? Thoughts on the new Polaroid Flip? Stoked to see the review. So, I don't have it. I don't have it out here with me. Um, Polaroid did send the Polaroid Flip, so I just got this 2 days ago. Let me think. Yeah, it arrived Monday. It was supposed to arrive sometime last week, and it got held up at FedEx. Uh, this camera is currently inside the house in Elliot's room. He has not taken his sight off of it since it arrived. So we can talk about this a little bit. If you aren't aware, Flip, this is basically their newest Polaroid camera that's really aimed more at like the everyday photographer, not the like diehard Polaroid instant film enthusiast. So, since the i2 has come out, I've talked about that camera so much because I use it so much. I used my SX70 a lot for many, many years, and I think I am, over the last year and a half, however long the i2 has been out, I'm starting to think I'm using it more than I ever used my SX70, which says a lot. However, that camera's pretty expensive, and not everybody wants to pay that much for a Polaroid camera, or paying for all of those features. Like, some people just want an instant camera for the fun that an instant camera is. And I've got to say, the Polaroid Now and Now Plus, which was like their entry-level cameras, just weren't of the best quality. They weren't of a high enough quality that I felt comfortable recommending them to people, because Polaroid film itself is different from what it used to be. It's a completely different chemistry involved, and that in itself turns away some people. And the Now and Now Plus cameras were not the best with focus and sharpness. It was always a little bit of a hit or miss with those, and it was tough to recommend them to people. I would always say, like, yeah, if you really want a good one, you're going to have to pay for the high-end one, which is a bummer. This is right around $190, $199, somewhere around there. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's like, it's a competent, capable camera. Like, this is the one that I absolutely recommend. If you don't want to pay for the pro features and you don't want to pay that much for an instant camera, this will absolutely do the job. It's got sonar focusing, which is just rad. We haven't seen that in a Polaroid camera in a long time. So, sonar focusing, it's using sound waves to focus. There are 4 lenses inside the camera that are all going to basically rotate, so it will choose the lens appropriate based on the focus off of the sonar. So that's awesome every time. You're going to get much sharper results. You're not just stuck with one particular distance. USB-C charging, it's an I-type camera, so you're going to be able to save on each pack of film when you buy I-type, because that film doesn't require a battery like 600 film or SX70 film does. Those require a battery in the film cartridge to power the camera. So because you're using an I-type camera, you're able to essentially get the cost down per pack, which is great. Every little bit helps with Polaroid film. Elliot has been using this since we got it. I just told him, I was like, it's ours to keep, so it's yours to have. You can have it. He's been using my Polaroid 600, the one-step close-up that I started with many years ago. When I was like in high school, I bought it at Salvation Army. So he's been using that, but now he's got this, and yeah, he's loving it. So we're gonna do a full video. I'll make a full video on the camera, testing it out and everything. But I did vlog while we were opening it up. He didn't know what was arriving, and I just told him we had mail from Polaroid and that he would be excited to see it. So I've got that in a video that's coming up in a vlog probably in the next few days. So it's a solid one, though. It's fun. I'm glad they came out with a camera like this. When they first told me about it a few months ago, I was excited that there was finally something for those people right in the middle, where it's like, I don't want the basic camera, because the results aren't going to be as good, but I don't want to pay that price. The Polaroid Flip is a great option, especially that like clamshell, the design of like flipping the lens or flipping the flash, I should say, down, kind of protecting the lens. It has a very throwback look to it, so it's awesome. It's a good one. Let me catch up here. Reminds me of my Polaroid one-step close-up camera. Yeah, that's exactly the one that I was just talking about that I had. I love it. He really did a really good job on that cloning with Elliot. He is 100% my kid. When you see the video of him reacting to it, it's hilarious. By the way, I got the 2 books in I ordered from Nazraeli Press. Oh, awesome. Both are pretty great. The Sage Sawyer one-picture book had a real 5x7 print with it, and Chicago is excellent. That's great. Glad to hear that, Greg. I still haven't seen Chicago. I need to pick that one up, and we'll take a look at it on stream here. But yeah, that's awesome that you got the Sage one-picture book. That's rad. What are your thoughts about a darkroom with versus without running water? Convenience. Having the convenience of running water. Like, I could set things up out here without running water, but I would just have jugs and jugs full of distilled water on hand, and rinsing the prints would be a little more tedious because of that. Rinsing your hands, like it's common to, you know, when you're, I mean, you could use gloves while you're developing in the trays, and if you get anything on your fingers, but then even if you get it on the gloves, you get developer on your gloves, you don't want to put those same gloves into the fixer and cross-contaminating. So occasionally, though, you'll get little bits of stuff on your hands or something, and it's just convenient to be able to quickly rinse your hands. So convenience-wise, that's really the main thing. Not having the convenience of running water would make most of it just kind of a pain. So, and that's with darkroom printing. With developing, kind of the same thing. It's mostly with the rinse aspect. You could do the rest of it without running water. Like, I would develop film in my old office inside the house. There was no running water in there. I would just walk to the bathroom or the laundry room to rinse my film. So there are workarounds. It's mostly a convenience thing, but knowing that I'm going to get running water out here at some point and actually have a dedicated space for it. Right now, you guys are seeing a super clean, clear view of the barn. On that wall is full of shelves that I still need to take down and insulate that wall. Over here to the left is still tons of stuff that needs properly stored, but I can't do that until I get these shelves out, move everything over. Like, it's all been a puzzle since I moved my stuff out here to the barn. Tyler and I were talking today. I was like, you know, I had this idea that come springtime the barn would be done, and like all the work would be done, everything would be insulated, and I'd have it all put away. I forget sometimes that I'm a father of 3, and there are very little chances that I'm out here by myself actually working on things throughout the week. So eventually the barn will be finished and I'll have everything I need out here, but I'm trying to, I guess, cut myself some reality slack. You know, I'm trying to remind myself that, like, this stuff takes time when I'm doing it by myself. And Molly working again and in college, it's all hands on deck inside the house. So let's see. I've properly fallen in love with Polaroid black and white recently since I got my i2, says Mel. Black and white Polaroid film is something that I've resisted for a long time. For whatever reason, I just thought, like, that's not what I think of when I think of roll film. Black and white is always what comes to mind, but with Polaroid film, I rarely, you know, that was rarely my first instinct. But now, especially as the monochrome black and white, the black and white Polaroid film, they did the monochrome frames. That's what I was thinking of. The black and white film is just getting better and better, so I find myself shooting a lot more of it than I used to. How much is Polaroid film these days? I think it's around $15 a pack for I2, if I remember right. I know that if you buy from Polaroid and you buy in bulk packs, that also gets you discounts. So that's typically how I do it, is just buy it in bulk. I still am shooting through some 600 bulk film that I bought a couple of years ago. I bought a ton of it when it was like some kind of crazy discount sale, and I'm still shooting a little bit of it here and there. It's expired now, but still shooting it. The only photo book I own is Jason Lee's Galveston book. I need to get more. I've got that one over here. That's a good one. He has a new book coming, a new book out. He also has it's like a box set of the two of the books together with a slipcase that I saw. I think they have some in stock at his shop, Eagle Rock Camera. That looks pretty rad. Do you think the Canon AE1 would brave the cold weather? If it did not, I've done it once in February 2019 out in the snow and broke my camera. It was later replaced the next day with the Nikon F. What exactly happened, Joseph, with your AE1? Or are you saying if that's the one camera that did break? I've never had really issues with any of my 35 cameras in the rain or in the cold. I had a Minolta XGM once that got bounced off of a ton of ice on these stairs because I slid all the way down it. That bounced off of all the steps and it kept working the rest of the day. And that was like 2010 probably. So that was a long time ago. But yeah. I've really struggled with getting color right, to be frank. I always end up having issues. Oh, on the Polaroid film? Polaroid film, to me, at least what I've found, is that like I have to find subject matter or a scene that is going to underexpose well. Meaning like any of the light that's in the scene, usually direct light on the subject is a good way to go. Backlit scenes with Polaroid film is really tough because it just doesn't have the same kind of latitude that like a roll film would. So a lot of times if you're shooting something backlit, a lot of the highlights in the background, it's all going to get washed and it gets this like kind of pea yellow color to it, and it just doesn't look nearly as good as if the sun is at your back, you're shooting with direct light on your subject, and if the shadows fall and they go all the way dark, it's okay. The color is only going to get, not the color in the shadows I should say, but like for instance if it was a portrait and there was direct sunlight on their face, shadows underneath their neck, under their nose, wherever the light may be falling, those shadows might get really dark and you might lose detail there. But where all of the light is hitting, all of that color just gets, to me, a little more rich. You don't want to underexpose too much, but like if you can lean on the side of just protecting the highlights, to me, I've found that that gets me better color. Whereas if things are washing out, not only do the highlights kind of blow out and get that kind of yellowish tint, but everything else just looks a little hazy and you don't really get as rich colors that way. So try that out, Mel. See if that helps at all with getting your color for your Polaroid film. It's tricky for sure. It's especially since they started remaking Polaroid film with the Impossible Project. Like it's become like just a totally different film to learn how it behaves, but that's usually what helps me. Joseph or Javier says, are you more willing to work out in the barn now that it's not freezing cold? Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, this evening it's a little chilly out here, but that's another aspect that we were talking about today. I was like, I was really hoping I would have everything done by now, but our winter was so rough with all of the crazy below freezing temperatures. No matter how much insulation I have up at the moment or with this heater going, it wasn't making a dent in some of that weather that we had. So I was even less likely or less inclined to come out here. So, as Tyler mentioned today, summertime will be better. It'll be easier. Being able to open the barn door and like get the golf cart out, get the mower out, get everything out that can move. That way I have room to like rearrange everything, pull things off the shelves to start working on that. It's just a lot. It's a lot. I knew it was going to be a lot, but yeah, it's just, I really, really convinced myself I was going to have it all done much sooner. Once I took a shot, it advances and then unexpected clicks and advances. Next thing I developed it, the shutter stopped working. Oh, that's a bummer. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what could have caused that. I mean, if it wasn't the cold, but it may have been. I'm not sure. Cairo, favorite medium format camera. Still developing black and white at home, and how's the M6? Favorite medium format camera depends on the day you ask me, I'm sure. If I had to say today, it would probably be the RZ67. God, it's so tough with medium format because they're all so different, and that's what makes medium format so much fun. But if I could only have one, probably the RZ67. That would probably be the one. Either that or the Pentax 672. Those have always been personal favorites. Hasselblad 500 CM, right in there, very close third. I'll give you those three, but probably the RZ if I had to pick one. Still developing black and white at home. Yes, I am. I just need to find the time to do that, but I have, I think, like 8 or 9 rolls to develop at the moment. And how's the M6? The M6 is not getting much use right now. I've been using the Nikon FM2 quite a bit, which has always been another one of my favorite Polaroid or favorite 35mm cameras. Still have the M6, will always have it, and it'll always be my favorite, but lately I've just been really enjoying using the FM2 again, just enjoying using SLRs in general, giving my rangefinder brain a break. I'm a big fan of Andre Cortez's, his book, The Polaroids is fun. That's another one I'm not familiar with. I'll have to look that up. Here I am just praying the composition isn't horrible. Javier, we can all relate to that. That's how I'm always feeling. I fully get that. Yeah, give that a shot, Mel. Some round frame. That's a tough one. I used an SX70 with a little fisheye lens attached to it. Using the round frame film with that. I saw Ben from In an Instant. I saw him do it once, and I was like, "That's genius." The round frame Polaroid film is so odd to me that when I bought some because I wanted to try it, but I just thought, like, I don't know how I'm gonna like this. Using a fisheye lens where it really exaggerates that circular frame was such a good idea. So yeah, let me know how that goes. Greg, do you have issues with bulk rolling film and it jamming up your camera? I have heard it is common when you're rolling it yourself. I haven't had issues with that. What I have had issues with is the little felt liner on the actual film cartridge. That over time has worn off on me, or it's at least worn off enough to where it's not sealing the canisters from light like it's supposed to. And that's the one thing that really, honestly, that's kind of what made me stop bulk loading my film, because I used to do it all the time to save money. And then I stopped when I went to develop once, and an entire roll had some hideous light leaks. Not the cool kind of light leaks that are going to get you cool points on social media. It just looked bad. It ruined photos that I otherwise would have really, I think, really enjoyed. Not the end of the world, but it was enough where I was like, yeah, You know, I could just buy new canisters, but like, how long until that happens when you're reusing the same canisters? All it takes is just, you know, that one time where it messes up a roll, and you're like, all right, well, now I can't trust any of these, you know, going out and shooting. So that's one of those things that I haven't done for a long time, and I want to again because of the price increase. But yeah, I don't know. When you get burned like that, any kind of developing issue, when you don't get what you thought you were going to get, especially when it's something like that like it was no one's fault. There was no mess up. I didn't like expose it incorrectly, or, you know, forget to mix the chemicals properly. It was just one of those things where I'm like, how would I have known? The canister looked fine. Light leaks everywhere. Yeah, it burns you. It's tough to give it your trust after that. So I haven't had issues with it getting stuck and jammed, but do beware of that. The i2 has a filter ring. This is an interesting or intriguing idea. Yeah, that's true. That's something I haven't really experimented enough with, is taking advantage of the filter ring on the i2. Joseph, you got me with the SLR thing. Aside from that, I used to work at a photography resource here in Buffalo before the new owners took over. Had a hard time with the new owners till I got fired. That's a bummer. But that's rad, getting to working at a place like that. I've never really been involved with anything like that, working-wise, photography-wise, but I've always thought, like, if I lived somewhere where there was an opportunity to work somewhere photography-related, aside from my own job, that's what I would do. Braden, what's up? Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Jim, I bulk loaded HP5, and for some reason I got these vertical black lines through the middle of the frame. Huh. I wonder what would cause that. Vertical black lines. I really don't know what would cause that. Did you ever figure out what happened with that, Jim? I'm trying to think. Like, initially I thought maybe if there was something over top of the film gate, like in the way, that's just clearly blocking light from hitting the film, that would give you like a solid black line there. But if it was like that on every roll, yeah, Daniel asked, black on the negative or on the scan. Yeah, that's really interesting. I don't know. Sometimes, or well, I guess if it was on every photo, then I would imagine, or yeah, if it was on every photo, I would imagine it's something blocking the film. Scratch from the bulk loader? I wouldn't think so if it's a vertical line, like going from sprocket to sprocket, because you're pulling the film. You would think if there was something being scratched, it would scratch, you know, horizontally across the entire strip, since that's the way the film is getting pulled. And if it's like that on every... It's a good question. Yeah, keep us posted on that, Jim, because now I'm wondering, I'm like, what could... It definitely sounds, yeah, like Pete said, it sounds like a gate issue. I got some that I attributed to light piping from some cheap cassettes. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, on the cassettes that I use, they were made for bulk loading, but I have friends that bulk load in like old Kodak canisters, old Ilford canisters. I've never done that myself. I don't even know how to do that, if I'm being honest. Like, now that I think about it, I don't know what the process looks like, because I've only used the reloadable canisters that are made for bulk loading. But could be stretched film if the lines are going from top to bottom, coming out of the sprockets. Could have happened while both loading, it got pulled too hard. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, black bar. Yeah, it very well could be something, either something from the canister or yeah, that's really interesting. Um, See, that's something that like when it happens to me, it drives me nuts, and I always wonder why I would continue shooting film, but I always do. Um, I don't know. I don't know why, but I mean, I still look at that today. I have a Z8 that I love, and I'm like, I could totally just shoot everything on this, but um, I don't know. I still all these years find myself continuing to do it. I would have thought those Ilford or Kodak canisters would be one and done. Yeah, the way that they like attach the film to the canister inside, I feel like they take part of the pre-existing roll and attach it to that. I can't remember. I'm not gonna speak from experience because I've never done it, but yeah, I always decided to just use the reloadable ones, thinking that would avoid issues, but those gave me issues in the long run with the felt running off. So I don't know. I don't know if you guys can hear the dogs going wild out there. Um, but yeah, uh, I hope you've all been well this month, the last couple weeks. It's been, as I mentioned, crazy. I'm finishing a video tonight after this stream. Hopefully, a new video will go live maybe tomorrow. If not tomorrow, it will be probably Friday, I would say. But yeah, I appreciate y'all hanging with me. We're going to have to do a short stream tonight. I've got to finish the video that I was working on before I started the stream. I'm hoping for a better week and better weather next week. And let me know what you guys, if there are any books that you'd like to see on stream, anything, or any topics in general. Let me know. Shoot me a message, shoot me a comment, anything. Yeah, just let me know. And we'll be back here again next Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. Hopefully it'll be warmer. I will make sure I don't have any work that needs done the same night. But I appreciate y'all hanging with me. Let me read the last few of these. I just picked up a new lens and I'm finishing up some edits of Chicago I took a few weeks ago. Hell yeah, Jonathan. That's awesome. Joseph, my cat Athena keeps coming in and out of my room while I'm here. She says hi. What's up, Athena? No problem. Glad you got to hang. Well, yeah, I'm glad you guys all got to join me on this stream. It's good to be back after last week missing. Hopefully next week again, longer stream. Hopefully better weather, and again won't have other stuff going on. But yeah, thanks all for hanging with me, and enjoy the rest of your weeks. Enjoy it. Be good, and yeah, I'll see y'all next week.